What's up guys, welcome to another video in the SQL Made Simple series. My name is Kola Ademola, and in today's video we'll be looking at the where clause. This is a very powerful SQL clause used for filtering, and with this in your SQL toolkit you'll be able to filter data like a pro. Without wasting so much time, grab your laptop and let's get straight. The where clause is a very powerful SQL clause, and with the where clause you're able to filter your data. When I say filter, I mean you're able to look at the subset of your data that meets a particular condition or criteria, because there are instances where you don't want to look at the entire data you have in a table. You're just interested in a particular portion of this data that meets a specific condition. Imagine a customer's table and you have customers living in different cities. But for the particular purpose of your analysis or the data you want to get, you just want to get data for customers that are living in a particular location. So what do you have to do? You don't want to retrieve all the customers. You only want to retrieve customers that are living in that specific location. So that is a filter condition. I just say, I need these customers, but only for where their location is this specific location. And that is how the where clause works. You use the where clause to filter your data. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to filter data like a pro as well. Alright, so let me jump to my PG admin screen and then let's look at the practical side of things. Okay, so I have the exercises we'll be looking at in this video, so all this is going to make sense to us. And the very first exercise we have here is we are expected to retrieve the data for all female customers. And if you remember the tips I gave you guys from the select and the from clause video, I said make sure to start by asking yourself, which table can I get this information or data from? And seeing how the question says we should retrieve the data for all female customers. That certainly means from the kind of database we have, we'll definitely look at the customers table. And then what can we do first? Remember, I also gave another tip and I said, before you answer any question, start by taking a peek at the table you're interested in, so you can get an idea of the kind of data you have there and also the kind of columns that are available in that table. And how do we do that? Just a simple select star from the customers table. And if we run this query, this is now showing us everything we have in the customer table. But if you look at this, if we look at the gender column, we can see we have male customers and we have some female customers as well. But our question says we should only retrieve the data for all female customers. What does the where clause do? It helps us filter our data. And what does filtering do? Filtering helps us to look at a subset of our data that meets a specific condition. So right here in this case, we are not interested in all the customers. We are only interested in customers that are females. And how do we reduce this data to only show us that? It is by filtering the data, which means we want to use the where clause in this case. So what do? I add one more line to my code and I say where, and what is this filtering going to depend on? The filtering is going to be dependent on the gender column, because it is from the gender column I can tell if the customer is a male or female customer. So I'm simply going to say where the gender is equal to female. Now when filtering, you're able to use a lot of mathematical operators or logical operators for this. And one of them is the equal sign. With the equal sign, you're able to filter where your data is exactly any value you specify. So in this case, we are looking for female customers. And female in this case is a text. And when you need to filter text go in single quotes in SQL. So I'm going to put that filter condition in single quotes, F. And if you look, my data just uses F. I can't say female, because within my data, female is represented with F and it is not spelled completely. So let's be mindful of that. SQL is very sensitive. It is also case sensitive as well. So if I should say female in full and I execute this query, and then as you can see, I'm getting an empty table. Mind you, an empty table is not necessarily an error. An empty table just means whatever you're looking for is not present in the data. If you get an error will be specified as an error, but an empty table is not an error. So like I said earlier, SQL is very sensitive and it is also case sensitive. So we know the right way to filter for female is just by using F, but from the data it was capital F or uppercase F. If I should use lowercase f and I try running the query again, we'd still get an empty table. Why? Our data uses capital F to represent the female customers. So for me to correctly get the data I'm looking for, I have to match my filter with exactly what we have in our data. So if I say where the gender is equal to uppercase F and I execute this query, as you can see, if you take a look at the gender column now, all the customers we are seeing are females all through. So that's basically how you filter. You're able to filter using a lot of logical operators like I mentioned. You're able to use the equal sign, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and even not equal to. You're going to be looking at all these examples. And also, you're able to filter text, numerical value or numerical data. You're also able to filter dates as well using these operators. So moving on to the next exercise, it says we should retrieve the data for orders on January 2nd, 2023. And what do we do first? I ask myself, what table can I get this information from? This is definitely going to be the orders table. So I'll start by taking a quick look at the content of the orders table, which is select star from orders. And if I execute this query, this shows me all I have in the orders table. And I can see there's a lot of information here: the order ID, the customer ID, the date of the order, the product, the quantity, and the delivery status. And if we take a look at our question, we're interested in orders that came in on January 2nd, 2023. So which means I'm not interested in all these orders, because I can see there are orders from 2022 here as well. So we are not interested in all these orders. We are only interested in orders that came in January 2nd, 2022. So that means we need to filter down this data to show us just that. And how do we filter? Yes, you got it right. We are using the where clause. So where what? The column we want to filter from is the date column, order date to be precise. So I'm going to say where the order dates. Now I want it to be exactly a specific date. So what do I use? We use the equal sign. So where the date is exactly equal to whatever date I'm going to specify now, which is January 2nd, 2023. So when you're trying to filter dates, dates also go in single quotes. The only thing that don't go in quotes is numerical data, such as numbers or decimal values or fractions. They don't go in quotes. But your text, your string data, your alphanumeric data, and dates, they go in single quotes. So we are trying to filter for January 2nd, 2023. Another thing we should also understand is that the only way you write out dates in SQL is in a specific format, the year, month, and day format. So you have to write your date in this format, year, month, and day. So January 2nd, 2023, so that would be 2023-01-02. And then with that, if I should execute my query now, you can now see on the 2nd of January 2023, we had just one transaction or just one order. And that's how you filter a date as well. Remember, there are still other logical operators, the greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and also not equal to. So we'll try to cover as much as we can, but the idea still remains the same. With the where clause, just put in the column you want to filter from, use the right operator, and then you're good to go. So let's look at the next exercise. We're expected to retrieve the name and prices of products less than $1,500. And the very first thing we want to do, what table can we get this information from? For the fact that this has to do with products, we know we need to look at the products table. So we take down our very first code, select star from products, and then we take a quick look at what we have in the products table. You can see a lot of information here: the ID of the product, the name, the description, the category, the price, and the cost. Now we are interested in products that are less than $1,500. So what does that mean? I don't want to see all these products. I'm only interested in products that meet a specific price point. So I have to filter the data down to that, and I say where our unit price is less than. Now mind you, take a look at our data, take a look at the price column. We have just numeric data here. There's no dollar sign attached to it. So this is why looking at your data is also very important, because if I don't look at this data, I might make the mistake of doing this dollar sign 1,500, and this is going to be wrong. If I try to execute this query, as you can see, it is resulting in an error. So always try to take a look at your data first, so you're familiar with the kind of data you have and how you have it. For the fact that this is numeric data, there's no way we can attach a currency sign next to it. So like I told us earlier, when you're filtering numeric data, they don't have to go in quotes. You just write it out like that. So I'm going to say where unit price is less than 1,500. And if I should execute this, so let's take a few seconds to look at this. Does this result, does this satisfy the question? I'm hoping you got that right. And the answer is no, this does not satisfy the question. Why? Let's look at the question again. Retrieve the name and prices of product less than 1,500. We're expected to only get the name and the price. We are not interested in what the ID is, or what the description is, or what the category is, or what the cost is. We are only interested in the name and price of that product. And how can we do this? The only reason why we are seeing all this information is because of what? Yes, you got that right. It's because we are using select star. And what does that do? It returns all the columns, and we don't want that. We are only interested in a specific column now, which is the product name column and the price column. So in place of star, we are going to select just the product name column, comma, and then the unit price column. I believe we remember this from the very last video where we discussed the select and the from clause. So with this, if we rerun the query now, this is now giving us just the product names and the prices of products that are less than 1,500. If we even want to try to manually confirm this, if I scroll through, you'd notice there's no product here that is more than 1,500. And that's how you filter using the less than sign. If your condition requires less than or equal to, you also use that. But in this case, what we require is just less than. So we are moving on to the next exercise. And here we are expected to find all the orders that were placed from 2024 upwards. So what do? We need to ask ourselves, what table can we get this data from? That's definitely the orders table. So we start by taking a sneak peek into the content of that table. Select star from orders. And with this, we can see what we have in that table. But right now, we are not interested in 2022 orders. We are not interested in 2023 orders. We are only interested in orders that came in from 2024 upwards. And what does that mean? We want to filter down this data. And how do we go about that? We use the where clause. And what column do we need to filter from? The order dates column. So we say where our order dates. Now we are looking at 2024 upwards. What does that mean? Greater than or equal to 2024. Why? 2024 upwards. 2024 is inclusive. We'll just say where it is greater than or equal to. Now, 2024 starts from when? From the very first day in January of 2024. So our dates that will represent that will be 2024 0101. And with this, we'll be able to get the results we are looking for. So if we execute this query now, we can now see, if you take a look at the dates on the orders right now, it's all 2024 and upwards. So with this, we've successfully gotten orders that were placed in that year upwards. So you just need to understand your question. You need to understand what column do you need to filter from. You also need to pay attention to whether you're expected to retrieve all the data in that table, or you're expected to just retrieve data from specific column while applying your filter condition. So we look at another exercise. Find products worth at least $2,000 and retrieve their names, their category, their price, and their description. So what does this require? We'll be requiring the product table. So we're expected to search for products worth at least $2,000. And where can we tell the price of this product? From the unit price column. So what do? We filter on that column by saying where the unit price is. Now we are saying at least. What does that mean? It means it should start from 2,000 going up. So we still have another greater than or equal to 2,000. And if we execute this, we can see that we have just two products that their prices are at least $2,000. But let's take a look at the result again, just like we did before. Does this satisfy our question? Good. I believe you got this one right. Yeah, it doesn't satisfy our question. Why? It's because the question says why we are searching for products that are worth at least 2,000. We only want to retrieve the names of these products, the category they fall into, the price, and then the description of that product. So instead of using select star, we are going to say we only want to select the product name, comma, we want to select the product category, comma, we also need the unit price, and lastly we want the description of the product. And with this, we have exactly the columns that we need. So let's run this query and see what we get. And boom, you can see our results is now restricted to just the names of the products, the category, the price, and then the description of those products. So I believe you're already feeling like a pro at this point. So filtering is very easy. It's not difficult. And which is the whole point of this series. It is just here to help you make SQL simple. And then let's move on to the very last exercise for today's video. So we're expected to find all orders that have not been delivered yet. Let's think about it. What table do we need to get this data from? And that is definitely the orders table. So if we take a look at the orders table, let's execute this. If we take a look at the orders table, we'll see all the information we have on the orders table. And what are we interested in here? We're interested in orders that have not been delivered yet. So looking at this data, is there any way we can tell if an order has been delivered or not? Yes, you got that right, from the delivery status column. Because from here, we can see that some orders have been shipped, some have been delivered, and some are still processing. But we only want orders that have not been delivered yet. We are not interested in all the orders. We only want those that have not been delivered yet. So how can we filter for this? We can just use the not equal sign, not equal to. Because if we say where it is not equal to delivered, it means so long as it is not delivered. And if it is not delivered, it is either shipped or it is still processing. So which is exactly what we are looking for. Because orders that have not been delivered based on this data is orders that are still processing or orders that have just been shipped, but it hasn't been delivered yet. So that would mean we would say where the delivery status is not equal to delivered. There are two ways you can write not equal to. You can either use the exclamation mark and the equal sign, or you can use the less than and greater than together. So either of this sign will work as not equal to. So we just say not equal to delivered. And when we execute this query, let's take a look at our results. And then boom, you can see the result we are getting. We can no longer see delivered anywhere. So we have around 554 orders that have not been delivered yet. I believe you're already feeling like a pro at this point. And you can see it's just that simple when you need to filter data in SQL. So we've just covered the basic ways of filtering by just using the logical operators. There are more advanced ways you can filter your data in SQL. And in the next video, we'll be looking at one of those methods, which is using the between keywords to filter your data. This helps you filter for range of values. So in the next video, we'll be looking at that. Just like we did for our last video, I'll also be dropping a couple of exercises that I'd like you to try. So just check in the description, you'll see the exercises. When you try them, drop your code in the comment section and we are going to discuss them together. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to also hit that notification so you get notified when the next video drops. So see you in the next one. Goodbye.